Hello, and welcome to the 21st episode of the Dead Soon podcast. Trying something new, as you can probably immediately tell. Trying video through Spotify. I did this for the Lena episode, so I'm going to try it for this. I feel like it's better to just have some video for these, especially if I want to get towards making clips and stuff. I'm kind of just lazy with those, to be honest. And I'm not like mega focused on just trying to grow this, but more so just trying to keep enjoying it and not focus on the numbers. Because it doesn't matter to me. It's not like I'm like I need this to be my career in 2 years. Obviously that would be awesome, but for now I'm just kind of get the reps in, get the episodes rolling. So yeah, this will be weird because I'm kind of looking at myself, and then if I'm looking up, I just have a monitor with some of my notes. But yeah, so this episode will be about the 50-mile ultra marathon that I just ran yesterday. But before I get into that, just like quick life updates, because I kind of like this to be when I'm watching this in the future, hopefully it'll be like a sort of like look into where I was at. So because a lot of this sometimes feels like it's making this. I think that's the goal, kind of making it for myself. Um, okay, so yeah, it is. What day is it even? It's April 26th. So I graduate, and I think like a month minus 2 days, um, also known as May 24th, I think. Yeah, college is almost over. Not a lot of stuff left. Just trying to enjoy what I have left, really. That's it. Because, it feels crazy. Everyone always says to me, everyone I ever have spoken to that went to college always says that went by so fast. It flies by. It's the best 4 years. I never really believed them freshman year, like when I was going in, because I was so scared. Um, And now I'm looking back and I'm like, that was the fastest 4 years ever. Especially just this last year, like senior year, crazy. It just goes so fast. Um, and yeah, my goal is to have a job after I graduate. It's been challenging, but advertising runs really late. So, uh, it's just, we'll figure it out. I'm just going to keep applying, keep chugging along. I have the self-belief, and I'm hoping that I will end up employed. If anyone's listening to this and you're in advertising marketing, let me know. Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna trust myself and just keep on going, keep on going. I'm also gonna. I think I'm gonna. I'm looking into it. I want to start a Substack just because I think they're cool. Um, I will. It's sort of starting like a kind of newsletter ish. Um, I'm gonna look into it, try it, maybe make a few small articles, sort of on smaller topics that maybe I dive into in the podcast, but just kind of reflections on stuff. I don't know. I'll try it. We'll see. Yeah. All right. So with that stuff out of the way, the race, the 50-mile effort that I did. So this was a sort of grassroots thing. I So it was 8 loops of 6.25 miles. So from where I am at my building at school to the running from here through campus to the end of the walkway over the Hudson, um, is 6 miles. Uh, and 8 times 6, 48. So I did 6.25 for each loop. Um, so basically 8 loops. And I just got 7 different friends to join me on each loop, and then one of my friends Zach did 2 loops, which I'll get into. But basically, I just had 7 friends. I set a full day aside, took a cooler of drinks, a bunch of food, random snacks, filled my trunk with it, parked it out by my building in the lot, and yeah, I feel like the logical question to ask myself is why did I do this? Because my marathon and my last ultra were like traditional races. I prefer trail, just like my ultra. I enjoyed that a lot, but I can't train on trails in the winter. So I didn't want to and I didn't want to sign up for a trail race when I hadn't been training on trails, because it's like my legs just wouldn't be able to handle it, and I wouldn't feel very confident. I definitely prefer trails, but it was just for the winter, it's just I can't make it work. Um, and yes, and it's trails are way less impact on the feet. And I didn't want to pay for the race if it was just on all there's a pavement 50 miler. Literally, I think it's being held today or tomorrow in Connecticut. Pretty like I would have been able to do it. Didn't want to pay 200 when I knew I could do it here, and I wanted to kind of just try this and see, and ended up kind of coming together with the friends too to kind of be like the perfect like senior year send off. Just with like my running stuff culminating with school stuff and friends, and it ended up being pretty perfect, honestly. And I'll get into more random stuff. I don't even know what part I was thinking of just before, but I'll get into sort of the event and just kind of break it down, talk you through the whole process, and then I'll talk about like how I'm feeling today. I'll talk about some of the data, talk about kind of why, and yeah. All right. So the event, 50 miles. My goal was approximately 11 minutes per loop. That's what I was telling everyone. I had a plan written out. I'll talk through that too. Actually, I can just talk through that now. So I had my start time at 7 a.m. So I got up at 5 a.m. Or like 5:15, 8, digested, prepared, brought some stuff to the car, blah, blah, blah. And I was imagining 11-minute per mile pace. And I through each of the 8 loops. So the first 4 loops, I was imagining a 5-minute break between each, and the last 4, I was imagining a 20-minute break in between. So that puts it at 100 minutes of total stoppage. I didn't want to stop. So in a regular ultra, like my last one, when I was walk through an aid station, like obviously it wouldn't be 20 minutes, but I would not stop my watch. I wanted this to be a part of it. I wanted it to feel natural, where it was just like whatever stops there are, I'm not gonna stop my watch. I'm just gonna keep rolling through it. So some of my splits and my timing, like my pacing on my watch and on Strava, which is where the run's uploaded, um, isn't exactly the pace that it should be. But I don't really know what my actual pace was. But it ended up being like on Strava, it showed it as like a 13 something, but it was probably like mid 12s if I had to approximate, like with running, just because like it slows down the pace when I'm not actually moving. But yeah, I mean, I had my approximate end time for 5:50 p.m. Total being 10 hours and 40 minutes. This was all the goal. And I sort of have, I'll add a link to this in the description of the podcast so you can see all my training plans that I've ever done and the specific day plan for this one. It's pretty simple. Just kind of had my approximate start time and then the different people who are joining me on each run. And yeah, and I had like the times and I sent them out to everybody so they kind of knew when they had to be in, and I would send updates like when I was getting closer. And I'll talk a little bit more about that after. But all right, so it's 50 miles, 11 minutes per loop. That was the goal. So loop 1. So originally I was going to be alone, but my friend Mo stepped up, and he's not a big runner, but he stepped up and pure willpower crushed it. We did the first 6.25 miles. It was nice and early, beautiful weather, like the sun wasn't out, very very nice. I'm just gonna kind of talk through what I ate and drank throughout each, and kind of my thoughts for each. So I had 2 bottles of water. I was just handheld. They were I don't know how much water. I actually think I have one here. It's one of these. That's nice because I have the video. Like 2 of these for each one. I would just be holding them in my hand. And yeah, so I drank 2, and like usually I would fill one with like an electrolyte drink and then one with water. I had like 1 fruit snack during that run just because I was like, gotta start the calories. Oh, in the morning of, I had like a bacon and egg on a bagel. But yeah, this first one was kind of just all about intentionally not pushing that pace, keeping it at that 11 minute. It felt great. Just not really thinking about the other loops, living in the moment, knowing that there was a lot to come ahead, but just sticking to what I know, and knowing to take things slow. Yeah, first loop was solid. No, there was no heat, no real issues. I was wearing my running vest, like this, like the hydration vest thing that like has the waters and like my snacks and stuff. But I kind of just realized like, why am I wearing this? It just makes me so much sweatier. So I was like, I will just carry stuff in my pockets if I really need it, like my phone, wallet, or not my phone and keys, and then carry the waters and have like a snack in my pocket always, and then just plan on eating on the loops back, or like when I'm back at the car. So I finish a loop, like basically get back to my building, and then walk over to my car, and start restocking refill water. So second was Zach, um, from mile 6.25 to 12.25 was his, or 12.5 was his first loop. He did two, but I'll talk to the first one. I had the 2 bottles of water. At this point, I was really not feeling food. Nothing really sounded enticing to me. I know my body enough that I'm like, it was like just food. I literally wrote in my notes just like food sounded gross. Like food just did not sound good at this point. It was just like completely grossed out. I was like, I cannot eat anything, even though it was like very early on. Um, but I knew after I finished that loop, like we did it solid, no issues. Me and Zach have ran a lot before, so we're able to talk and be totally fine. But I started just crushing plantain chips and just eating a bunch of them, because I mean, I just knew that I needed to get food. It was a little bit of kind of forcing it down, but they were very good. Me and Zach had some together. And then Zach also joined me for the third loop, 12.5 to 18.75. This one was also pretty smooth, pretty solid. Had the 2 bottles of water again. I think the one was like Powerade and one was water. Had more plantains, I think before and after, honestly. Um, and this is one I had to absolutely obliterate the bathroom. It was rough, rough adventure, but um, yeah, I had to use the bathroom, and then kind of like towards the end of the loop, I started to think like, ooh, like a burger and fries sounds really good from Yella's, which is a on-campus place. Started to think of it, but I was like, I'm not gonna get it now. But I was like, okay, food sounds kind of good, and I literally had a trunk filled with like every snack you could imagine. Then I had like even like bacon and like turkey and ham and just like kind of like random foods, like protein bars. Um, but I kind of figured that it's just like I would crave something and then I would need to have it. Um, so I just kind of started dreaming of that. There's nothing really to these first couple loops were very like, even like when I'm looking at the splits, like um, mile 1 to like 18, mile 1 to 15 was all like right at like 11 minutes pretty much, give or take. 16 I slowed down a little bit, not sure why. Might have been the bathroom loop. And then like 17, 18 solid, kept around 11. Then 19 was just like I probably stopped for like 10 minutes on the being back at the car. But yeah, so didn't get the food yet. But my next partner was Nate. So for miles 18.75 to mile 25. So kind of my motivation here was just knowing that after this loop, it's the halfway point. Um, but some foot pain started to appear around mile 22. Uh, it was like outside of my foot, like not directly on the bottom, like the outer side of like the right side of my right foot and the left side of my left foot. Like I don't know, like the center of it on the side. I don't really know why it happens. It's just like it's happened a lot before. But it was kind of just like pushing through that. Like it was probably at like a 3 on the pain scale through here, and I think end of the day it probably was up to like a 6 at most. But I was also having Advil like every 3 loops. Probably not supposed to do that, but I think it was helping. It could have been placebo. But me and Nate finished the loop pretty easy. Weather was great. Once again, it was just a nice breeze on the bridge, and it was pretty cool. We weren't really in any sunlight. It was nice and cloudy the whole day, pretty much. But yeah, the foot pain started a little bit. Um, then I had the burger and fries right after that loop. Was amazing. That was like my first bigger break. It went down very easy, surprisingly. Like tasted amazing, no issues. Had 2 more bottles of water during the loop. Felt like pretty good overall. I was still, even at mile 25, like approaching that marathon. I was like, I feel good. I'm keeping this pace. I can check the Strava and see like, yeah, like the paces were still like right around that like 10 to 11, even some like 10:40s. Then like I mean I think I braked for like 15 minutes after that one, and then gets into my next loop with Tomas. So mile 25 to 31.25. Um, so 2 bottles of water. Once again, this one felt pretty smooth. Had to go to the bathroom again. Kind of expected. Um, then we had like one, I had one like suspicious burp. Tomas describes it as, where like I just burped. He's like, "You need to stop," and I was like, "No, I'm good." Like I just knew I had to keep going. It was basically just like not stopping. Like I knew I just if I started walking, it'd be done. But my stomach is pretty well trained to eat or to run after eating for like lesser stuff. But I usually like in the morning on a regular run day, like I have to eat, wait till I poop and then run. But this one I was just able to eat, and I guess it's because my stomach was probably getting very empty. Um, but yeah, so we just kind of kept pushing through. Knew that I really just didn't want to stop at all. Didn't want to like make myself comfortable. The one thing I kind of didn't anticipate until it started happening was basically after every loop, I would stop for at least like 3 minutes. Some would get up to 20 minutes at some points. That restart of like that first like quarter mile is really really rough on like the knees, just like warming everything back up. Um, yeah, so stomach was good. A little suspicious burp, but all honestly good. I was feeling good. The weather was still good. It was just a little cloudy. Um, then getting to I kind of knew even beforehand. I had told people literally mile 32 to 38 will be the worst because it's like there's nothing to grasp onto. Like the Nate one, I was like, oh, it's the halfway point. The Tomas one, I guess it was more so like still feeling good, like crossing that like over 30. Like now this is like getting towards the farthest I've ever ran. Um, and so the John loop, it was just like painful. I was deep in the trenches in the pain cave, as a lot of ultra runners call it. I was just like, it was just the trenches. Like it was brutal. It was really, really painful. Um, Afterwards, Jules, my girlfriend, asked me a great question. She asked, if there's a spot where I thought I would give up. And I had told her the night before a little bit of like the dumb way that I have to justify this. And I think I talked to Tomas actually about this. Speaking of, while I'm on his loop, or I guess he was the previous one, but like sort of like I have to be willing to die to do something like this. And obviously, I'm not going to actually die, but it's like I have to know that I have to be willing to push myself way past where I think I can push myself in order to complete something like this. Like I have to be willing to die a little bit and just like die on the battlefield. As dumb as it sounds, because it's like I put myself in the situation, but I don't know. It helps with my mental. But yeah, so Jules asked me like, was there a spot where you thought you were going to give up? And I said right around that mile 34 part, where I was really struggling with John. Um, I just said in my head, it's like maybe I'll do 40. That's still an ultra, like that's pretty good. Because it's like the farthest I ever ran was 32. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll do 40. Um, and I just kind of knew, like I was like in my deep down, I was like, no, 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 I cannot do that. I knew I had to get rid of those thoughts and just get back to that, like come back in, like why are you even thinking of mile 40? Like you're on mile 34. Like just keep focusing on step, one step at a time. And then also would like kind of whisper to myself, like I said I would do 50 miles, so I'm doing 50 miles. Like it's kind of like I need to hold to my word. I can't let like, because if I don't know, like I trained this long, like I spent this many, like all those like mornings where I just like really wanted to stay in bed, but I got up at 6:30 and ran for an hour and a half, wearing 3 layers of gloves and a hat and 2 sweatshirts. And I knew that if I had talked to myself like then, I would be like, there's no way you're quitting now after how much you put yourself through. Like, you're going to do this and you're going to enjoy and you're going to live in the moment. So, yeah, this was really, really challenging because on top of like I was in really, really, my pain was peaking at this point. And mentally, I was deep in the trenches. Like the rest of it, my mental game, like whenever I'd come back, I'd be like mentally 100, physically like 60 or like 40 or like I've never really got to like, I mean, it's probably like 30%. But yeah, so I don't know. The John Loop also, the heat went up, or like the sun came out, clouds started to part a little bit, like the wind started to go away, it went up probably 5 or 10 degrees during the loop, so it was brutal. My water got really warm, couldn't really drink water, couldn't stomach anything, but got back, got to the reset. There was some of my friends were hanging out, so I chatted with them a little bit, just started chugging water, chugging Gatorade, and then just ate like, actually I have them here, Nerds Clusters, like 4 handfuls, just a ton, couple hundred calories getting them in. and I felt like pretty solid. After I finished the John loop, I was like, oh, I can do this. It's just going to be a little bit of walking. So get on to Nick, which was awesome. He also isn't a big runner. Um, so I was happy that he wanted to join. He wasn't super confident, but we did it together, and I'm sure it felt good for him completing um, a run that just like together and like being a part of this and like not missing out on it. I'm glad that he joined for it. So yeah, we walked the first 0.75 miles just to kind of warm up the legs, and then just ran the rest. Pace was slowing down. Let's see, this is mile 37. Looking at the data, um, yeah, I mean, it was like 12, 12, 11, 11, 11. So, I mean, yeah, a couple 12s, like pushing it a little bit higher. But I mean, still chugging along. I mean, I started to feel pretty good because I was like, all right, after this Nick, like, all right, so after the John loop, I was like, wow, there's only 2 loops left. Like, and then I was also, what percent was I done after the John loop? I was 75% done. So I was like, oh, I'm feeling good. After it, like a little bit after. Nick also got me some like running sunglasses. So it was cool. We got to rock them. But yeah, chugged 2 bottles of water again, chugged a lot. Finished that. Loop 8 was with Robbie. So this was mile 43 or 44 to the end. So we ran a little bit to start. And then kind of like, I think once we hit 47, I was like, I can't run. So I was like, well, I'm still gonna move. I'm still gonna take you step after step. So kept chugging along. Lots of walking. Probably 2/3 of this loop was walking, so it slowed me down a lot, obviously. But I was like, I mean, I just need to finish this. So I was like, when I'm at 46, I'm like, all right, let's keep pushing it. A lot of walking. Robbie, I basically just requested everyone to just talk as much as you can or play music out loud. We just ended up talking. Me and Mo just listened to music and chatted a little bit. But yeah, Robbie he loves football and the NFL draft is going on. So he walked me through the entire first round of the NFL draft, one by one, pick by pick, and like why it was a good pick or bad pick or questionable. It was awesome for passing the time. And then literally once it hit a certain point, I was just like, okay, Skip, tell me about the NBA. And he moved on. It was great, very useful, very appreciated. Everybody was really good about that. Like if I'm just like looking back, I'm not gonna like dive into like every topic that we discussed. But yeah, I mean, everybody was great, very talkative. I could not have done it without them. So I do appreciate this very, very much. Everybody who joined me, because I don't think I could have done this alone. Um, Tomas was definitely Tomas was also funny because because I was able to talk the entire time. Like it was never a fitness issue. It was a pain issue, like a foot pain issue. So he would just like ask me like question after question after question, and then I would answer. He would answer. It was literally like a podcast. But yeah, I mean, everyone was great. John, I wasn't really able to talk as much. Nick, we talked most of it. Robbie, he did a lot of the talking. But yeah, came to the finish, walked the last probably 2 full miles at least. Yeah, 2 miles. We probably walked. And yeah, I mean, hitting the 50 felt amazing. It it was huge. I mean, just looking at my watch, it was like this does not feel real. Uh, so I finished at 11 hours 32 minutes. I'm not sure what the time was of just like running. That's because that's just like total. Um, but yeah, I mean, it felt great. I think if I'm talking through the different mental ways that I kind of broke it down, because it's like if I just think of 50 miles as a whole, it sounds insane. It is insane. Um, but the easy ways were one, uh, saying each loop is 12.5% just helps in my head. I don't know if it makes sense, but I would just be like, finish a loop, another 12.5%. Um, then 8 loops of 6.25 doesn't sound too bad. 5 loops of 10 miles sounds terrible. 25 loops of 2 miles, also terrible. So I kind of found that perfect spot, which is, I mean, it helped me. Um, then, I mean, I had wrote down to go over the Strava data. I kind of already did, but I'll go over specifics. So I covered 50 miles. It was 1,726 feet of elevation. It was probably like 100 something, or like 200 per loop or something. Yeah. Um, then 9,711 calories is what my watch calculated. Crazy. Um, I'll go over my training plan after. I guess I can go through. I guess I'll go through my motivation first, and then I'll go back to the training plan. So one was this like one step rule. I don't. It's like split second rule. David Goggins talks about it. It's basically like a motivation tactic that he used, where it'd be like he's on a run and he's like, all right, mental check in. Can I do one more step? If the answer is yes, start back again. Can I do one more step? Yes. So literally, I'm starting to realize that everything and all these motivational things just kind of all come down to just be here now, be present, live in the moment. So that's basically it. Just don't think of the other, like when I'm at mile 29, I'm not going to think of there's 21 more miles. No, I have to think of step, 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 step. Yeah, and then my other motivation, which I talked about, just kind of like I said I'd do it, so I'm gonna do it. I don't want to be someone who folds under pressure and folds um, under hardship. I want to be able to do it because I said I would do it. And then I mean, just motivation wise, like it felt so much easier with friends. Like the biggest moment was like I was just running with Nate. Like we were like had like a mile left on our loop, and I was like, I literally was like, it does not feel like I've been going for 5 hours. Um, and I mean, that was huge. Like I couldn't have done it alone. And it was so great that it ended up perfectly that I had someone on every single loop. Cause especially the later loops, like that was huge. Like I probably could have done if I had 4 friends, I would have done like lap 2, 4, 6, and 8 with someone. Still would have been difficult, but like it was good to have someone, especially those later ones. Um, and yeah, so I mean, that was sort of just like how I stayed motivated. I guess I'm going to go briefly over my training plan because I definitely undertrained a little bit. I'm going to be totally honest. Um, I just didn't want to injure myself. That's my biggest priority now. But big things were just staying disciplined, staying consistent in the cold, getting them done in the morning. And then big learning was sort of like my body doesn't do great after a 20-mile road run. My longest run through the entire plan, I'm gonna say, let me check. 1 second. Let me check. I think it was 19 miles. Longest single run was 19 miles. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, all right. So I started this uh, December 30th. So my first week, I'm gonna go through some of my notes just around these weeks. This is more just like data and nerdy stuff, but I'll go really quick. So I started off with 31 miles that first week. I was a little bit sick. Uh, yep. Second week, still a little bit sick. Finished at 30 miles. I kind of was doing so. The way I do it is like a week going up in mileage, and then slightly down, and then up like a graph. So this is another up week. Just started putting in some speed sessions. The general format that I was doing is like Monday easy run, Tuesday easy run, Wednesday speed day, Thursday off, Friday long, Saturday long. Yeah, that was a general strategy. Um, week 3, a down week, but I ended up running 37 because this is the first week I did the back-to-back long run. So the strategy for ultras that I've discovered is, so if I'm training for a 50 mile, I'm not going to run a 30 mile or a 35 mile. I'm going to run 36 over 2 days, or like 30 over 2 days, that sort of thing. Because you want it like that second day is the real training, because it's like you're training on tired legs, because you're going to be running on tired legs. Um, so I ran 37 that week. Next week, 36. This is when I was moving into school. Had to do some treadmill. Was learning a little bit about the food. Like I was like eating before the speed session doesn't work, but eating before the regular one works a little better. Felt a little pain on one of the days, but I don't think it ended up being a big issue. 43 miles the next week, 45 miles the next week, then down week, 43 miles that next week. I didn't have any notes for those past 3 weeks. The next week, 49 miles. This is an increasing week. I hurt my tailbone sledding. Very stupid, but it was very fun. I mean, it sucked, but it was a fun memory. Um, and then I kind of like that, and then I had to do my long run the day after. Um, so kind of hurt the tailbone, and it hurt like my hip because I was like compensating for it. But I just kind of just ran through it. Then I just had to eliminate biking from cross training because of my butt pain. It was so stupid. But that next week, 52 miles. Wrapping that up, the butt pain was mostly gone, but still present. Um, then this following week, so I was planning an up week increasing, so I probably had like 55 on the agenda. Called an audible and I was like, you know what? If I go a little bit softer this week, long term it'll help me because I have written down down week was an up week originally. Then I had pain on my left foot. Uh, Pain was on and off Wednesday. I just wrote bad pain Wednesday, and I hiked instead on Saturday or Friday and Saturday. Just ran, and then we ended up. I mean, the foot was like all right, low mileage week, kind of just resetting totally. Then we went to the club in the city that Saturday night, so just terrible sleep set me up badly for that week. Um, but that next week, so this is the week before my spring break, so got back into it with an up week, 50 solid miles. Um, was very busy with midterms and stuff. Um, Started using some KT tape, and yeah, so and then I had to cut my mileage a little bit just because I was busy. The next week was in where even were we? Why am I blanking? Bahamas. Bahamas for spring break. So I only got 3 runs in that week: a 2 mile, a 7 mile, and a 5 mile. So 14-mile week when it should have been really peaking. Um, so couldn't get miles in at all. Didn't want to sacrifice sleep and didn't want to sacrifice spending time with friends. Like it wanted to be a fun memory, and it was awesome. So it took 4 weeks off. It was ended up being a good deload, like cutting that mileage down, and really getting my body reset. Um, then that next week, so this is the week of the 24th of March. This is peak week one. This is the most I ran in a single week I think ever. So it was 9 miles on Monday, 9.5 on Tuesday, 8 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday, 13 on Friday, and 19 on Saturday. So over that 2-day stretch of that like Friday, Saturday, or like yeah, Friday, Saturday, 32-ish miles was my biggest. So that's not that much considering like I would have thought. I think a lot of time like people think like, oh, you have to run 50 miles during your training, or like yeah, something like that. You think like, oh, you have to run 45, but like it's very interesting, and it's kind of like what I learned data wise is like runs past like 3 hours like generally do nothing but hurt you in this type of training. But yeah, this is peak week one. I felt my fitness was worse after the vacation, but I also ran like my fastest ever 5K on that Wednesday during an 8 mile run. The next week, my second peak week, I felt a little beat up during the week, just from how rough the past week was. We didn't go out at all. I mean, these previous weekends, I was always going out on Saturdays, so that's why a lot of times like I run Friday, Saturday, so then I can go out that Saturday night and just recover all of Sunday, just because I don't want to sacrifice my social life, especially like this is supposed to be something for fun and added. So yeah, didn't go out that weekend. Then the next weekend, my third peak week, but I kind of ramped it down a little bit, and because I cut out my second long run. Uh, let's see, I don't know why I did. I just wrote down. I felt destroyed after the 16 mile on Friday. Drank a lot this weekend, and then I decided like I'm done drinking until the big race, the big run. So that next week, I ran 18. I'm gonna actually my training plan isn't fully updated, so let me actually pull out the app here. Um, so yeah, so I ran 19 last week, and then like just keeping it very light. Um, Usually like the taper is supposed to be a little bit like so I was like peaking, then I had like 2 taper weeks, but instead usually the taper weeks are supposed to be like 30% of your total or something, like way less, or no, like I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to like be gradually cut down. I kind of just fell off a cliff and tapered down to 0. I don't know, it's probably not the right tactic, but I was kind of jammed because I did push this a week earlier. So yeah, I ran like 18 that week, and then this week, like previous week, like the week of the 21st, I think I ran 2 miles, like I ran a mile on Wednesday and a mile on Tuesday or something. This being my race week, knew I had to be in the best shape possible. So kind of realized like my fitness isn't going to improve. Like if I went for a 5 mile on Tuesday, it's not going to help. I just wanted to keep my legs up. So yeah, I mean that was the training plan. Hopefully that was somewhat useful and cohesive. Um, but yeah, I mean my big learnings were sort of like not to overdo it. this is a big like maturing moment for me, because in the past I would have probably just pushed through on those days that it hurt. There's no point pushing through. It's never helps. Um, then the post race aftermath, um, had a big appetite, a lot of chafing. Gonna spare everybody the details there, but super sore, but also back to Goggins. He has this line that he said after he completed his first 100 mile, and it was just like, so like it was his wife was basically like, we need to take you to the hospital. He's just like, just please, just let me enjoy this pain. Just shut up and let me enjoy this pain, I think is the exact line. And obviously I didn't say that to anyone, but like in my head I was just like, this is like, I don't know if this sounds weird and like masochist, but I was just like, I earned this pain. This pain is mine. I deserve it. I earned it, and I'm just gonna enjoy it. If that probably sounds weird, but I don't know. If it makes sense to you, maybe it makes sense to you, but it's my pain. I earned it. I fought through it, and it's mine. And then answering the question of kind of why I do this, because a lot of people just like randomly ask me like, why are you doing this? One is just to see what I can do, push my physical limits, and then sort of seeing like that if I can push my physical limits way past what I thought and realize how capable I am, then in my mental game and my career and my health, I can always see how hard I can push myself. Also, I can recognize that this is definitely a bit of an addiction of sorts with my running. Sort of like regular running would just be, no, it's normal, but ultra running kind of feels like an addiction in a way, because it's like pushing it to the extreme. It's a healthy addiction, luckily. Also, I find it fun. I enjoy it still. I definitely prefer trails. I probably enjoyed this one. I was definitely feeling burnt out in this training. Um, Probably enjoyed like 40% of my runs max. On trails, I enjoy like 80%. Then just like staying healthy and just kind of being competitive with myself. I'll talk to the next morning, or like, so, all right. So I slept that next night. I was expecting to like sleep like 14 hours. Went to bed at like 10, woke up at like 8, but I woke up 4 times throughout the night. Like, took me a bit to fall back asleep. My body was feeling like garbage. And I was just like, at 8:30, my body just shot awake. I was like, I have to be awake. Full body soreness, my back sore, my feet are pretty rough. Just been icing and heating and icing and heating. And then I'll go through what I've eaten today, because my appetite has been pretty high. I woke up in the morning at 8:30, probably by 9. I ate my meal prep that I always make, which is like turkey meat, vegetables, and rice, and I had some chips with it. So that was my breakfast of the champs. Then like a little bit later, had a burger and fries. Then I had a cup of noodles. This is not all back to back, but throughout the day. Then I had a slice of pizza, had some candy, some Nerds clusters. Probably gonna have some pasta for dinner. Haven't had that yet. Probably gonna have that like now. And I mean, that's kind of all I have, but I'll go through kind of what's next for me in my running career. Gonna take 2 weeks off of running completely. I'm gonna hopefully be able to bike a little bit this week, but just taking it slow. I have a 1 month membership at a gym that has like a sauna and cold plunge, so I'm gonna do some cold plunge hopefully this week. Just, I don't know, see if it helps. Not gonna be training for anything for a while. I definitely burnt myself out on this one. I feel good. I feel accomplished that I finished it, but I'm gonna need a break from training, especially if, like with starting a job from community city. It's not happening. I did it once. Not gonna do it again until I have a more balanced work life commute balance. I'm not like quitting running. I still love it, but I'm just gonna do it. Kind of try to do it for fun and not super push it. Maybe like hopefully be able to get things back to like that sort of 30 miles a week and just be super consistent with it, and getting out on trails more. But yeah, I mean that's my overview of everything. I definitely appreciate everybody for supporting me throughout this. Um, Appreciate my girlfriend for like suffering through me being annoying and like setting alarms early and like wanting to go to bed early and sometimes being a little bit annoying probably. So appreciate everybody for like putting up with my running, and because I know it impacts other people's lives. I appreciate everybody, my friends, for joining me on the runs. Appreciate everyone who told me good luck and waved at me on the run, and it means a lot. It helped. Everything was great. It was a great day. I mean, just reflecting on it, it was awesome. Everything went kind of exactly to plan. I'd never cared about like the time. It's just finishing it. So I did it, and yeah, that's the 21st episode of the Dead Soon podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll try to have another interview soon coming up. So thank you. Bye bye.